Hey everybody, welcome to KimmelsIrishPub.com. Time for another movie review. Tonight we're going to do A Dog's Purpose. I know if you watch these movie reviews in succession, last night I said we were going to do a comedy or something a little bit more uplifting after the serious movie we watched last night, but it didn't work out that way. And tonight we're going to do A Dog's Purpose, which I think is a little heavier. I think that there is some comedy, but I also think it's a drama, and I think it might be a little bit of a tearjerker. It's obviously about the purpose that dog serves in our lives, and this dog reincarnates itself into different dogs and touches different families throughout its entire existence. It's starring Josh Gad, I believe he is the voice of the dog, Dennis Quaid, KJ Apa, from Riverdale. If you watch Riverdale, if you haven't, I'm going to start doing reviews of that when season 2 comes out, because I enjoyed that. And Britt Robertson, who has been in a lot of different movies and is an up-and-coming star and actress. So it has a lot of good actors and actresses in it. I think it might have a lot of emotion in it, but I'm excited to see it. IMDb gave it a 6.7. I'm going to start watching it here now, and I'll check in a little bit, let you know how it's going. Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick check-in. We're watching A Dog's Purpose, and as the title kind of leads you to believe, the dog is searching for his purpose. It's now, so far, we're at the 26-minute and 22-second mark. And the dog is going through reincarnations so far throughout the movie. That's the plot line throughout the movie. It's only in its second reincarnation, so it was born and now has become another dog, and has been belongs to a boy named Ethan and his family. And it starts off with Ethan raising the dog, who comes to be named Bailey. And now we fast forward a couple years. I think Ethan was around anywhere between 9 to maybe 12 years old in the beginning, and it shows how the dog comes to be owned by Ethan and his family. But now it's fast forward, and Ethan has grown up. He's now in high school on the football team, which is KJ Apa. I think that's the way you pronounce it. And Britt Robertson from The Space Between Us, Tomorrowland, she is also in. But so far, so good. One thing I failed to mention in the beginning of the review was the fact that there was some controversy of this movie, saying that there was some mistreatment of the dogs or some abuse. I have recently read that that was false, that no dogs were mistreated. And so that's what has led me to start watching this movie. I mean, again, I don't want to make this any social or political type, review. I just want to talk about the movie itself, but I just wanted to share that piece with everybody who is watching. I believe that the most recent report says there was really nothing bad that happened to any of the animals that participated in this film. Back to the film review. So far so good. Very entertaining. Josh Gad is excellent as a voice, as he always is in any movie that he's in, even when he's just doing the voice, whether it's a dog or a snowman. So there is a lot of humor, of course, within. I do believe that there is going to be a part of this movie where it's going to be very emotional, but so far it's uplifting, and it's really. You really love the dog so far. So if you're a dog lover, you're going to love this movie. If you're thinking about getting a dog, you're going to love this movie. If your kids want to get a dog, don't show this to them. If you're not ready to get them one, don't show this to them, because you're going to want to buy a dog after this, I think. So far, so good. But we'll check back in a little bit and let you know how it's going. Hey everybody, we're watching A Dog's Purpose here, and I want to do a quick check-in. We're at the hour and 1 minute and 29-second mark. It's been a while since I checked in, but I wanted to give it a little time. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this is a dog searching for its own purpose, and it's through reincarnation. So one thing about this movie, in order for reincarnation to happen, obviously the dog has to pass away at some point. So it's on its third reincarnation. So there are some emotional parts as the dog develops relationships with its owner or owners, you can see you can imagine what's going to happen. As I talked about earlier, it was growing up with Ethan as a child, then as a high school student, and then from there it moves on to a canine dog and a police dog. So I don't want to do too many spoilers, but that's what we've seen so far. It's still an enjoyable movie. Like I said, there's some sad parts, I think, some emotional parts, and there's a lot of fun parts as well. Make sure it's a good movie to determine if you want a dog or not, and everything that goes along with it. One thing I did want to quick stop in here and mention, the way Bailey initially was found was in a car with the windows up. It was in a hot car, which is in the news a lot, not just dogs, but also children. So, I know I don't get political or anything like that, but that's one thing that, we can't have happening, is letting dogs in a hot car for an extended period of time. Thank goodness, in this case, in the beginning of the movie, Bailey turned out fine, and that's how he found Ethan, and everything was happy there on after. But it is a tragedy when those things happen in real life, and we want to avoid that from happening altogether. But so far so good. Again, it's got its ups and it's got its downs, and I'm enjoying it. Can't wait to see where it goes. We got about 40 minutes left in the movie, and I'll check back in a little bit. Alright, thanks. Hey everybody, checking in here. It's the credits. So the movie's over, and I'm about to give you my review on the overall movie. Just only a couple check-ins tonight, trying to minimize them and give you more of a summary at the end. It was a very heartwarming movie about companionship, love, and loyalty. There's a lot of laughter throughout it, a lot of potential tears, as you can imagine, as the dog continues to be reincarnated to different owners and things like that. So, I thought it was pretty good throughout the movie, especially in the beginning, when it's owned by Ethan, the boy, and then eventually the high school student. But I do have some criticisms about it that I want to share that I think might be a little bit of spoilers for you. So, first of all, real quick, without getting into any spoilers, to help anybody out, I would not recommend watching the trailers before watching this. The trailers kind of give it away. At least they did for me. I kind of knew what was going to happen when it got to the certain moments, and I was very prepared. I think if I wasn't aware of the trailers, I think it would have been a lot better for me. Okay, so with that said, now I'm going to do a little bit of spoilers and give some criticism to the movie. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, now's your chance to go ahead and pause or end it. So give you a second. Okay, so now my criticism about the movie, it was great in the beginning, as I said. It went on as it met other owners. They didn't really develop the relationship between the dog and the owners as the movie went forward. It was only really about Ethan, and you kind of understand why. At the end, he comes back to Ethan, and it's very short. I think what they could have done to make it a little bit better was to have the dog's name becomes Buddy. Buddy, who wants to prove to Ethan that he is Bailey. But they don't make that completely clear. It's not the task of the whole last section of the movie. It should have been abundantly clear. It's the last 2 minutes of the movie. He says, "Oh, I want you to know I'm Bailey," in a sense, and then proves it to him that he is Bailey. I think they could have done a much better job of building up that plot line at the end, that once he returns back home, his whole purpose of being at home is to prove that he is Bailey and that he's the dog that Ethan originally owned. I think they do a poor job of that, and that's what happens eventually at the end. Then he proves it, and if you watch the trailers, you know that's what's going to happen, and you can figure it all out. So that is my one criticism about the movie. It was good. It was entertaining. As I mentioned, there was a lot of humor, a lot of sad parts as well. IMDb gave it a 6.7. I'm going to go slightly higher with a 7. But as I watched the beginning of it, it was at an 8 for me. But I eventually brought it back down because I think it felt rushed. As I mentioned, the relationships between the other owners weren't developed. Slightly developed, but not enough for you to really care about that storyline. It's just there to let you know that the dog went through other owners. And then eventually he finds Ethan again, but they don't develop that at all. They rush that at the end, and I think that's a little disappointing to me. But in the end, I do think that if you own dogs, or if you have owned dogs, this movie will help you remember the good times you had with your dog, and so that was excellent. Or if you own a dog, the memories that you currently are having with your dog. If you do not own a dog, this might help you make a decision on whether you want a dog or not, and more than likely have you wanting to buy a dog. One other recommendation: if you watch this with your kids, because it is kid friendly, which is great, your kids will probably want a dog after this. So, a little warning there. But again, overall, I think it's a 7. Some heavy criticism on this review, which I don't normally do, but I'm glad I'm able to now. So hopefully you watch this, you learned a little bit more about a dog's life and made a decision on whether you want to watch it or not. If you watch it and you disagree or you agree with any additional comments, feel free to leave me some comments. I am celebrating my first comment on my YouTube channel today. So today's history in the making. Yes, it was my wife. And yes, she does comment on a lot of different things that I do. But hey, it's my first comment, so I'll take it. But if you have comments, feel free to leave them. If you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and you'll get more notifications for my movie reviews, my beer reviews, my fantasy football analysis, anything along those lines. If you watched it this far, I thank you so much for sticking with me, and come back again for another movie review. See ya.